Hello and welcome to another episode of the Embodied Union podcast. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Charlie.
And today we're going to be talking about how we are toxic in relationship. And
The most toxic trait that you have is that you don't see your part. And when I say you, I mean me, and I mean us, and I mean we. Like the most toxic trait I think we have in relationship is being blind to what it is that we bring to the dynamic. It's so easy to just see the other as the source of the problems.
I mean, that's all there is, right?
But it is you. If you didn't do this, then I wouldn't feel like this.
Yeah.
You made me feel like this.
I just feel so much more better off when I'm single.
When I'm single, I'm good. I'm
so
really good.
good.
And then I get in a relationship and then she's such a narcissist.
There's such a problem. Every ex of mine is terrible. What else we got? What else do we hear?
Well, it's not so. It's really just when the couple comes into our space, they're both often, and it's so natural to do this, we're so overly focused on what the other is doing or isn't doing or is saying or is not saying. And it can be so hard to see our part. And I think like the crux of our work, whether it's with couples or men or with women, it's really all around self-awareness. You know, it's not to say that your partner is not contributing something that is not great and not healthy and not good, but so overly focusing on them, like you suffer in that. And the most powerful thing you can ever do is to turn all of that energy and attention around back on yourself to see, how am I creating this? What is my part to play? And if it really is the other, it's like, how did I attract in this dynamic in the first place? Mm-hmm. What boundary of my own have I crossed? What red flag did I ignore? Or like, it's still you. You still have a part that you never get off like completely innocent. You're innocent when you're a child.
Yeah.
You know, like children can be victimized. They are.
Definitely.
You know, when you're a child and the adults in your life are not to the standard of adulting that they should be, like a child really can be a victim. But in relationship, often when we are being a victim to our partner, we're usually playing out some of our childhood stuff. We've usually attracted this in, or we I don't know, like as adults, it's our job to take responsibility for what has happened to us as children so that we can have a different experience as adults.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, I think you're right. There's the adult part and the child part, and that's coming online. And I really see it as like a development in relationship, that when we first in relationship, we're really seeing it as our partner. Like it's much more obvious to see where our partner has faults, or where they're, out of integrity, or we don't trust them, or we don't feel safe with them. But it takes a while to then start to realize and do our own shadow work as far as like, oh, this is actually my stuff. Like they're actually showing me my own inner world and what's going on for me. And I think there's a natural progression that happens, that we start to then take responsibility for our part. And I think even for a lot of us, we start to take on too much responsibility. Like we almost like gaslight ourselves or make ourselves like we're always the problem, it's all me. And it's the dynamic. Like you said, we're always in a dynamic.
Well, I think some people go that way. I think some people end up gaslighting themselves, and they want to stay in the toxic relationship, so they gaslight themselves into believing it's a them thing, and if I just heal this part of me, then I can stay. But then I also see an equal amount, if not more, people who don't take that path and they stay in the blame of the other.
Yeah, okay. And I guess then, and that for the listeners, maybe you don't think that's you somehow. Like you're the only one on the planet.
But it really is him. It really, really, really is. And like Lindsay said, it's the dynamic. It's always the dynamic. It's never so black and white that it is one of you that is the problem. It's the two of you together somehow are trigger meeting trigger, like conflict up against conflict, like you're exposing stuff in the other. And you are together for a reason, you know, even the most toxic relationships, like it's my belief that relationship is designed to show you stuff about yourself. So there's always a lesson to learn. Even the most horrific relationship is for your learning, but only if you can sit and look through the lens of self-reflection.
Reason, season, or a lifetime.
What does that mean?
Well, in relationship, said it before, say it again. Some relationships are for a reason, some relationships for a season, and some are for a lifetime.
I reckon every relationship is for a reason, even if it is like for a month, you know, if you've got like a short little in and out, there's still something there to learn. I reckon relationships are always there to expose, to show, to grow, to deepen, to teach you how to stop self-abandoning, to teach you how to have boundaries, to teach you how to open your heart more, to soften. Like, it's just, relationship is full of lessons, but you can't learn anything if your focus is so on the other person. You have to be able to turn that attention around. Like, what is it that I need to see here? What do I need to learn about myself?
So how do you think, for people that are listening, how do they start this journey for you, or maybe for your clients, or like, what do you see being the thing to be able to do here when we're starting to realize maybe someone's listening, they're in a relationship for a really long time and they actually can see all the faults of their partner and maybe can't quite, how do they turn it around? How do they start to self-inquire here? It's
a great question. But I always want to start with for example, if we're in a trigger, the first question I'm asking myself, once I have got myself together and taken myself away to kind of, okay, I'm going to really be responsible about this, I'm looking at questions like, well, what am I making this mean? What am I making this mean? You know, Lindsay might have said something or done something, but the reason I'm suffering right now is because I'm actually making it mean something. So I'm coming straight back into like my own meaning making. Then if it's like, say you cheat on me and it's like, I'm really hurt by that. And like, I'm making it mean that you don't love me and like all of that's pretty valid. And so I still want to look at, how is it that I contributed to this dynamic? How did I end up here in a situation with a partner who has the capacity to cheat on me? Like, what did I miss? So it doesn't mean that I'm going to stay in a relationship that is completely out of alignment because it's my fault and it's my responsibility. And like, I still believe we get to have the standard of relationship we want. We get to walk away from people that are just not serving us. But say we broke up, once I've sat with my grief and my anger and I've given that the time, as long as that needs, I'm then going to go into a learning phase of like, how did I end up there? Like, how did I attract that? Like, how did I pick that partner? How did I pick someone who could do that? What did I bring that had the intimacy so like fall away, or the communication wasn't there, or like, what didn't I see? I'm still going to look at my part. Whereas so many people just sit in the victim identity of what he has done to me, what she has done to me. And like that, you can't learn anything when you're in that space. It's not to say that you haven't been treated badly, that it's okay that your partner cheated on you. I'm not saying it's okay. It's like, but if you're sitting in the woe is me and I'm a victim, it's like, I feel like that person is more likely to go into another relationship and have the same thing happen again. So it's like, you look at you for you, you know, not to take the responsibility off the other person, but it's like, you do this for you so you can have a different experience next time around.
And I think that's really good, because I think what I'm sort of hearing in that too is it then becomes like, is this a pattern?
Yes.
Am I in a pattern here?
Is this familiar?
Like, holy shit, I'm the common denominator in all my relationships. And
every partner cheats on me. What?
Yeah. How are you co-creating in this dynamic to do this? Are you do you have a belief underneath it all that you're not lovable, and so you're actually constantly unconsciously pushing love away,
or attracting partners that are coming in just to show you the wound that you're not lovable? Because that's what we do. We attract people to expose the deepest pain that we have, and we're like, you made me feel not lovable. It's like, actually, I'm not saying it's okay that you did that to me, but you actually just exposed a belief that I have about myself.
Absolutely. And I think, and I don't know if this is jumping, but I really wanted to talk about it today, was that often, because it sort of sparked off, there was a few things that sparked this discussion for us, but one of them was that like early childhood development and what we're used to being, the way we're used to being treated, or what we actually believe about ourselves. And so sometimes our toxic trait isn't from, say, a negative place, but it's more so from a place of like lots of hurt maybe growing up, or, you know, I think about it for myself. It's like if I've been someone that's experienced a lot of like physical violence as a kid growing up, my toxic trait that I know of is I can be really defensive in relationship. And so a lot of the time I have guilt or I have defensiveness in relationship. So it's like guilt that I'm not getting it right or doing good enough, or defensiveness for myself that I don't want to get into a dire physical consequence like position.
Should we give a really practical example?
Sure.
Are you happy to unpack that exact example?
Any.
So this is actually something Lindsay and I have our eyes on, like right now. It's in our dynamic. Like I have a part of me that likes to control, and I will name things that like need to be done, and I might tell Lindsay something more than once, and often that will trigger a part of him that feels defensive. And I know that Lindsay has this defensiveness that comes up. So I very much have softened when I speak. So if I'm saying something like, hey, can we water the plants today? I'm checking in with me, like, say it sweetly, say it kindly. Like, I don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells, but I have sensitivity to this defense that I really don't, I'm not trying to trigger. Like, I'm not trying to nag, I'm not trying to micromanage. I honestly don't believe that I am. So I say things in quite a sweet way, and sometimes it can still expose this part of Lindsay that feels like I'm on his back about something. And once we went deeper into like, well, what's actually happening here? Because it feels like projection, because your defensiveness doesn't actually match the present moment reality, because I'm not, why haven't you, you haven't. I'm bringing something forward quite gently and softly, and the defensiveness, it's like I'm attacking you. And so going down the inquiry, it was like, well, when Lindsay was a child, if he didn't do what he said, if he, like,
it's just, there was so many different cases of just feeling like
made wrong, trouble.
Yeah. And if I didn't get it right, or, you know, I was called out on something, then it could turn really bad, really quick.
So for Lindsay, the consequence of being called out for something in childhood was often violence.
Could be.
It could be violence. And in your previous relationship, not that there was so much physical violence, that kind of continued, you know, like shamed and slammed and made wrong. And
I kind of brought that in, like, and this is what I'm sort of owning in me, like, that's my toxic trait. That's what I bring, is I bring my own defensiveness into relationship, even though you're a goddamn sweetheart.
So Lindsay could get really stuck in the, she's already told me to do that, and I'll do it when I'm, like, he could really just focus on me and how I don't know, you could make it about me.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't, because there's this level of awareness around like, wow, that defensiveness doesn't match the situation. So let's unpack it a little bit more, you know? And it's like, I could be like, you're so defensive, da-da-da-da-da. But there's a part of me that's like, okay, I know Lindsay has this part, and I can actually be more sensitive around, like, because I'm not trying to expose that part. I'm trying to be sweet. I'm trying to actually manage something in myself, like going through checklists of like, I kind of speak out loud, not necessarily even to you. And then suddenly I say something and you're like, rah, rah. I'm like, I'm just naming things just for myself. So I'm aware of what I bring into that dynamic. You know, it's not me sitting here being like, well, you're just so defensive and this is all on you. I'm like, wow, how am I triggering his defense? Like, how is my tone? How am I saying it? Could I be softer? Could I be sweeter? And so we're both looking at how we contribute to this clunky thing that we experience.
It's the dynamic, right?
It's the dynamic.
It's like, you know, because if you were to fawn to this part of me,
I would never.
there could be a part, like if I wasn't taking responsibility for my part in it, you could really then placate to like, oh, well, I just won't ask him to do anything. And then that way he will never get defensive. But then that builds resentment because there's sadness and anger, you know.
And this is so good because this is exactly what we're dealing with couples, you know. I'm like, I just won't bother. Months go by, years go by, we're in therapy. I'm like, well, I can never ask him to do anything because he just gets defensive. It's like, whoa, like I decided to take that on, you know, whereas we don't do that in this relationship. It's like, whoa, something happened. Something happened. I didn't feel good. Why didn't that feel good? What's your part? What's my part? Okay, let's like talk about it. And sometimes to get there, we need a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like what I've learned with you is even if you are defensive or you're triggered or something happens, if I give you even just 3 minutes of space, you come around so fast. You're so quick to cool down. You're so quick to lean back in. You're so quick to repair that it's like we give it some space and I know that your responsibility is coming like around the corner.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And I know because both of us have the evidence that we're both willing to speak to our part. So we know that repair is going to be good. But the other part too is that I was thinking about this is with my own defense and being stuck there, it kind of also made me realize too is that, and I've been working with couples and individuals with this lately, is my version of defense might be different to how my partner's version of defense is. And it's the same thing with anger. It's like a lot of the time when I'm sad, I look mad.
Looks furious. Looks like he wants to murder me.
So I get really misunderstood. So you could imagine if you were sad, let's say the listener was listening, you're sad and everyone's treating you like you're furious. It's so isolating and can be so lonely in that moment. But then I sort of noticed for Charlotte, when I interpret Charlotte's anger or mad, she's actually in fear. So
Panic.
in panic. So I completely project my version of anger onto her. Like if I was that angry, what I might do, and I'm expecting that from her. When in reality, her anger, what looks like anger, is actually just panic. So, you know, in those moments, the opposite is needed. Like I need to actually run in and hug her and hold her and reassure her, even though she looks mad. And the same for me. When I look mad, I actually need to be loved, kissed on the head and held.
And like me projecting onto Lindsay he's mad when actually he's sad, but to me he looks furious. And when he looks mad, like because I have a wound around, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Because of my childhood. And I feel like my dad being, potentially my story is that my dad was often quite mad and angry at my mum. And so when I think Lindsay's mad, if I see a sign of mad, I go into my stuff. But it's a full projection because then Lindsay's actually sitting in collapse or upset. But to me, I'm putting mad on him. And so you see how we do this. Like I could really sit in the world of like, Lindsay's always mad at me. And like, well, it's the way that you look, it's the way that you are, it's the way you're being, like you're mad at me, it's not fair, I don't deserve this. But it's like we've really gotten to uncover like, actually we're just meaning-making machines all the time and we're putting our meaning onto what's happening over there without actually checking in, you know? So many people do this. We have these assumptions about our partner and we just are like, this is what they're thinking, this is what they're doing, this is why, and we don't actually check in. And like we could be right sometimes, you know, but often it's a projection. We're putting our model of the world onto the present moment experience. And that is what is creating our suffering more than what's actually happening in the moment.
Yep. We literally spoke about it at men's group the other night. A brother was talking about when his partner puts a boundary up and says no, he feels rejected.
Yes.
And then he wondered why he struggles with boundaries because he projects that if he puts a boundary up, he'll make the other person feel rejected as he does.
Yes.
And it's not the truth. He was like, oh my God. He just was like, you could just see the penny drop for him in such a beautiful way. And yeah, it's just like so often we're actually just creating this whole thing that's not there. But again, It's the dynamic. We're in a dynamic when we're in relationship. We're always in that. And it's not to say anyone's at fault or it's wrong. It's more just like, how's this going? Like, how are we, like, what is our dynamic? Can we understand it so we can have compassion and really see each other in the most beautiful way? Because I've got shit. I've got things that aren't great about me, and I'm totally fine with that.
And I'm fine with the parts of Lindsay that he calls not great and shit, because he's willing to take responsibility for them. You know, like if he wasn't, it'd be different. It's just like, wow, these parts of you that are exposing something in me, and like you're not willing to look at them. It's like, but because so often if Lindsay is defensive and then there's a bit of space, within a couple of minutes there's a sorry, I'm sorry. Like he owns it. And then to me, in that owning, I honestly couldn't care less that he was defensive. You know, if there was no ownership, then I'm going to sit in the rumination of how dare he, why is he doing this, But this is the thing. Often when people do something shitty in relationship, they feel shame and guilt, so they don't want to own it. They'd rather just not talk about it. It's like, I'm just like, for example, the time I called Lindsay the C word, and we have an agreement. We do not name call in this relationship.
It was cute. She called me cute.
C for cute. Not quite. But I was triggered. I called him a name, and then I knew right away what I had done. And like we had some space.
And I was just like this, oh yeah.
Because he's one in that. But it's like, I had to go away, and I knew, to me, it felt really uncomfortable to go back in and say, I'm really sorry that I broke an agreement. I'm really sorry that I called you that name. Like, it's really inappropriate, because I'd rather just like, well, you made me that angry. Like, you made me do that. And I'm still like, I felt so much shame and guilt that I'd been the one to have broken the agreement. But like, you have to be willing to sit in your like, I'm a human and I fucked up and I'm really sorry. Like, what was it the other day?
I want to say something to that is, I've also been in a relationship where things like that have happened and the person still just goes, you made me. And I can just, like, I know like exactly how that feels to have the other person not take responsibility for their actions and what they've done. And it just creates the inability to repair. There's just no proper repair.
It's actually not about that. Like, because I came in quickly and was like, I'm so sorry, you didn't even care. And it's just, like, last night, Lindsay'd gone to bed and I went upstairs. I'm like mid brushing my teeth, but I'm sitting in this uncomfortable feeling. And I'm like, my love, I'm like, I'm really sorry that I cut you off before we were having a conversation, and I cut him off because I was on a train of thought. And like, he's like, babe, I'm in bed. And I'm like, no, but it's not okay that I did that, and I just want to own it. And he's like, I love you. But it's like, the minute you own something, your partner softens. You know, we only don't soften when there's no ownership, because then we start catastrophizing that it's always going to be like this. Oh my God, they spoke to me like that, and they're not owning it. And this is like, we can make it so much bigger. But just to name it, own it, apologize, take responsibility, completely creates a softening. It's not about never having moments of rupture and never breaking an agreement and never kind of fucking it up. But it's how quickly you can repair. And you repair by saying, I'm sorry for my part. I'm sorry for what I just did.
I also want to name here too that for each person, repair can take a different amount of time to come back to connection or to the softening. And what I see as a dynamic sometimes is one person is quicker to come to moving on than the other. And I really want to just speak to that like, for example, if Charlotte did something, let's flip the example. Charlotte cheated on me or did something, and then she did apologize and she did say she's sorry and she made a new agreement and we moved on. Once that happens, I could then, now that that's actually resolved, I could then still have something come up where now that it's actually been sorry and settled over her end, and that threat or that upset's now being sort of cleared, it could still come up in me, like anger about it or frustration about it or whatever it might be. And so it might it might take a while. It might still have some lingering impact. You know, this is why sorry sometimes isn't just enough and the agreement isn't there. Sometimes our body is still like, I don't know, like I can't quite, you know, thinking about the fertile ground, the safety, trust, respect. It's like, oh, this might take a bit. And so it might take another thing to happen, or it might be that I then have to continue to self-reveal of what like is truly going on for me. And it's hard sometimes because our partner's like got to hold the part of us that's still hurting that they're actually responsible for. Because in the concept that I want to speak into here is the objective or the subjective victim. It's like sometimes we believe we're a victim and sometimes we actually are a victim to something. And so when we are actually a victim to something or something has gone terribly wrong, it might take some time.
And the reason why I might be like, oh, I thought we'd already moved past this. Like I've said sorry, like what else do you want me to do? Is because I can't sit with my guilt and shame around doing a bad thing. You know, like if you're the one that's broken an agreement and created upset and your partner has chosen to lean in with you, chosen to repair with you, and they're in a process of still like the anger's still being exposed, I'm still in my upset, I have to be willing to hold that with grace. You know, it's not that you get a hall pass to project it at me, but if you're like, yes, we've talked about it, yes, we've repaired, yes, I'm still sitting in some threat and some fear, it's my job to be like, I really get it. And that's welcome, and it's allowed to be here, and it makes sense that it's here.
Yeah,
and I'm here for that. I'm here for the healing.
Yeah, and again, just you know, we're all different when it comes to our nervous systems and how long we take. Taking a bit longer. The one other thing, is that the other part of this too that I'm thinking about was around one person being toxic or bringing their part. Like, okay, for example, Charlotte calls me the C word and then breaks the agreement. And then in that moment, because I might have some stuff that's lingering there, it's like, all right, you took the gloves off, well, I'm taking the gloves off too. And then I start
tit for tat,
or breaking other agreements or whatever it might be. And it's like, it can be a slippery slope when we get into conflict like that if we're not knowing how to repair or we don't know how to self-reveal in the first place. And there's actually a mountain of stuff that I've got sitting right there. And then when you break one agreement, mine go and come out. So just naming that as well. Because I think that's really common for couples in a dynamic of conflict is like, he started drinking, so I'm going to pull away, or I'm going to withhold sex because he watched porn once, or whatever it is. It starts to like, these dominoes start to fall everywhere. It's landmines everywhere.
Well, it's a version of you've shut down, so I'm going to shut down too. You've withdrawn, so I'm going to withdraw love. Rather than holding like curiosity around, wow, something's going on over there. And rather than just trying to like matching that because it's not fair and why should I? It's like, how can I hold curiosity to figure out what's really going on over there and continuing to lead with love and like open my heart to kind of be in service to the relationship.
And I think you speak really well on that is like keeping the standard of relationship and keeping the devotion. Like what type of partner do I want to be regardless of how my partner is?
Yes. Yes, I really love this. And I don't think a lot of people get it. And there's times where I don't get it, you know, when we're triggered and we fall down. But it's like no matter what, if your partner is drinking or lying or gambling or withdrawing or shutting down or being defensive, like whatever it is, why do you need to match that? Why do you have to revert into a tantruming child so that you can be in a lose-lose? It's like, I'm going to continue to hold the standard of relationship that I choose for me, and I'm doing it for me. And if I continue to show up with love and I continue to lead in this way and I continue to be responsible and you over time refuse to rise, then this relationship's actually not in alignment. But you doing whatever you're doing should not impact me becoming a lesser version of myself.
Yep, and I think bang on, because again, it comes back to having and knowing your own values in relationship and what's the standard of relationship that you want to have, you know?
Oh, I have such a visceral feeling in my body of like that experience of just say it's shutting down, like you're shutting down. So I start shutting down. You're not communicating, so I'm not communicating. Then all of this space is between us, and neither of us really know what's going on, and neither of us are willing to lean in, and we're both just sitting in like separateness, and it just is ongoing because nobody is willing to be in service to the relationship. Like, honestly, fuck that relationship. I want no part of that. And I know I have compassion for the couples that sit in that for years,
Yes.
sometimes, but you don't have to.
You really don't. It's just learning the skills of how to self-reveal, of how to go first, and learning that with your partner, because that's the standard of relationship, honestly, that you both truly want, and then doing some type of work on it, like something like embodied union, something like working with a therapist that, you know, or a good couples therapist that would be able to support you both and coming to be on the same page. So you have a shared language and a shared way of how to connect in a beautiful, authentic way.
Do it. Do the work.
All right. Is that it?
I think like the take home message, I hope, is if you're in suffering, if you're in struggling, if you're in conflict, if you're in trigger, for sure, your partner's bringing something to the dynamic. It's the dynamic. But start going down the line of inquiry of self. How am I creating this? How am I contributing to this? Like, what is my part in this? Even if it is just, I picked a partner that could cheat on me. Like, look for, use it as a line of self-inquiry. You know, like your triggers are your number one allies for growth and healing if you stop pointing the finger and all of your energy out there. And I just hope that it's obvious, and sometimes it's not, so I'll name it again. We're never saying that you should stay in a mediocre, unaligned relationship because it's all your stuff to work on. Leave. If it's not aligned, leave. But look at your part.
Mm-hmm. Because wherever your problems are, there you are. All right.
That should be on a t-shirt.
Thank you so much, my love.
I love you.
If you want to get in contact with us, we're at Embodied Union on Instagram. I am at Lindsay B.
At I am Charlie S. Hannah.
Blowing up, killing it, crushing it. All right. Thank you so much, team. Love you, sweetheart, darling.
Love you, darling.